300 West. So that'll happen. I think that's all I've got on the update for that. I was gonna give this to you guys there. This is a Indiana Renewable Energy thing. In Sullivan County, it's basically a bus tour or something they sent to me about solar fields and solar ordinances. I know you guys have been interested in that. And then the thing I need to bring up was I'm supposed to say names, but the tort claim that we've got from utility companies. And what's been going on is
Which utility company?
Brightspeed.
Okay.
So they're a cable utility company, mostly in the northern part of the county.
Okay.
And we deal with a lot of different utilities that use county right-of-way to get their utility to people. And the people definitely, they want this utility. And so they're paying for these utility companies to supply them, then they're paying their service. The utility companies are using county right-of-way to put the utility in. And there's a permitting process that we've had probably for over 40 years, I think Grant had said when we talked about it. They're not filling out the permits to utilize county right-of-way. In them permits, there's specifications on how deep you need to put that utility underneath a drainage structure or a ditch or a roadway so you don't adversely affect anything existing. That's not been happening. The permits have not been getting filled out. And then when there's a damage done to one of the utilities, this tort claim is $25,000. So they're putting a utility in on our right of way, and the taxpayers are already paying for it, the service. They're not doing it to spec, and then when something happens, they're sending us a tort claim for $25,000. And I don't think we should pay it.
So yeah, so just to clarify, so we go in, put in a new culvert, and we realize that their line is right underneath our culvert instead of being
3
5
foot
feet,
under.
3 feet under, it's 3 inches under. We hit their line because they're not putting it in right, and then they're trying to sue us to fix their line.
Yes. Yeah, and they didn't even get a permit to begin with for their line.
And have any of the commissioners, have you got a call from Brightspeed?
Never.
Never. So they just directly go to a lawsuit for violating our right-of-way agreement. Make sure I had all that clear.
Yeah, and it's kind of, and they do damage. So when these guys are doing stuff, if they plow a utility in, we got specifications to keep it on so far away from the edge of the blacktop road, like 3 foot, that's a little bit more work on them. So they put it right next to the edge of the road. And if you tile something in next to the edge of the road, then you know what happens to the edge of the road. The edge of the road starts to sink and crack off. And then they don't like to go under our culverts, so a lot of times they rip right through the culverts. So we've been battling this for a while, and we don't even charge them for the permits. I think the permitting was free just to get them to come and fill out the permits, so we wasn't trying to charge them for
We
it.
have permitting, on the county website where people,
Yes.
if someone's trying to figure this out, they could figure it out.
Yeah, there's a permit to use right of way, there's driveway permits, we got permits for everything on there, and they're accessible.
And these are our legal right-of-ways. We're the ones that have the legal document.
Yes, we have the legal signed
We've
right
done
of
this
way.
for not quite 40 years, but it's been a long time.
With the internet providers, I think for the past 10 years, fiber and everything.
No, there's been that push to be a fiber community and all that stuff, and that's good, and everybody wants that, but there's also downfalls to it, because it's costing the county hundreds of thousands of dollars repairing culverts.
Just to clarify, we have had something like this. We've had a process for, since the mid-'80s. Is that correct?
Yes. It's just not being followed. And a lot of the contractors that do this, I don't know where Brightspeed is, where located at or their head facility, but a lot of these contractors they're not Davis County contractors. They're just people that come in with the tile and they put it in the ground and start going, and then you never see them again. They don't really care what happens to our infrastructure.
Can we look into revoking their access to our right of way? Or send them notice that we're evaluating revoking?
So they never had access because they didn't apply for a permit. So they simply did what they wanted to do within public right-of-way that would be used by utilities. They simply went there, did it, and then when we overlaid our project, so to speak, it caused damage to their project. So they never had the ability to be there if they didn't fill out the permit. So we certainly need to correspond with them.
Well, I wrote a letter and sent it to you, Grant, but I didn't send it to them till after this meeting and after you read through it.
My suggestion is that we send them something simple. Hey, you didn't fill out the permit. We've had this in place for a long time. It's easily accessible. You didn't do it. And where did they actually send, though, the bill? Did they send it to?
To the highway department.
Okay.
They actually had a third party send us one, and then they sent us one themselves.
So
So they had some collection agency sending us a bill too.
it sounds like the request of the commissioners is to deny that payment.
To deny that, and I'd like to give them like a warning that this is their warning to fill out the permit or we're going to revoke their access to our land, is what I would like.
But I'd say like Grant, they actually didn't even have access, so we would revoke any further ask of access if they don't.
Yeah, and they go and put handheld boxes, which are areas where they splice the wires together to go different directions. They'll put them right in a ditch, so then it starts restricting the water flow, the drainage, and drainage is the biggest deterrent on deterioration of pavements and gravel roads. So it's been an ongoing battle, and this bill about put me over the top.
I'd make a motion to, what'd you say, how do you word it, revoke payment or not pay?
Just
Deny.
deny
Deny
payment
payment.
and then correspond with them that until you fill out a permit, you don't have access.
Correct. Yep, I'd make a motion.
I'll second that.
Okay, motion made by Commissioner Cook, second by Commissioner Keith, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes 3-0. And then when will, what deadline can we put on getting this letter to them?
And we can get it out this week, but also I would tell them that they need to fill out a permit application within 30 days.
I suppose they don't have it all, excuse me, an office or anything where they're working or?
This is Minneapolis, Minnesota.
Yeah, they get all kinds of contractors to do all
So
this.
it's just random contractors that come in here and,
So by next commissioners meeting, we'll have the letter submitted to them.
yeah.
And then, yeah, just, obviously don't pay the bill and, but just the lack of a phone call or lack of anything from them is just, not very neighborly.
No.
Okay. Thanks, Chris.
And that's all I have, really.
Any questions for Chris?
Nope, appreciate it.
Thanks,
All
Chris.
right, thank you. Next up, we got the Air Med Care. I think this is the Air UVAC is.
Thanks, Chris.
What a lot of us know this by. Oh, hey, yeah, please come on up. Yeah, step up to the podium there. Holly Lagenow. Good morning, Holly.
Having me. Yeah, I'm actually originally from the area, so my maiden name was Goodwin, so I'm sure people are familiar with that last name. So, but I've worked in this area, got 2 medical degrees, but now I'm on this side of it. So I am very familiar with Air Evac. If you're not familiar with what that is, it's the helicopter that flies in the sky, comes down any tragic event, and flies people to their nearest hospital for care. In the past, I used to fly with my patients, but now I'm on this side of it, which, you know, I'm here today to present, to the commissioners to approve for the whole county, the membership part of it, and that would be, encompassing the membership to cover all the employees. That's what I do now, is to help, I guess, the benefit part of it, to help the benefits for the employees, and then it would cover the employee in the event that, heaven forbid, something were to happen and they're out and about and they have to be flown. It not only covers the employee, but it would also cover every member in their family. So no matter the age, that's why we can call it a membership. And it has to be under, the people have to be under the household. So it doesn't matter the age. We service, we have a map here, and that's what I was gonna show. You probably may not can see this, so I can pass this around. And I will give you all this, I just put it here. It is, we have over 380 bases across the United States, so that's how large we are. Our company, Air Med Care, we are throughout the whole United States. The federal government does call upon us if there is a tragic event, such as a mass shooting, hurricane. We are the ones called. So FEMA and OSHA are in our buildings at our main headquarters, which is in Texas. So we're a lot larger than people imagine. And I also brought, this is our service area. I don't know if you can see this, but Daviess County is right here. And so you all are surrounded by several bases. So Paoli is the closest base. And then Evansville is the next base. So in fly time, we can get to someone in this surrounding area in 10 minutes. So when it matters the most, in a heart attack, stroke, major car accident, we can get here in 10 minutes and get them flown to, you know, the nearest hospital. And that's when, you know, like I said, when it matters most, when you're talking about your life or a loved one's life, to get people to care. And then as far as the cost is concerned, there are different plans being offered for the county. So the county to pay, that's what I'm suggesting. Most of my counties in my area, I cover 3 states. Most of my counties and cities do the census plan that is on that sheet there. And what that really means is that if you do have a turnover rate, it's a slot process. So if Tim is here today and he leaves tomorrow and Paul comes and replaces him, you just switch out the names. And the county actually owns the whole plan. So it's not, they're taking it with them. It's basically a benefit while they're here under the county.
So that the county pays for the fee?
Yes. It's I call it an extra benefit. It's, we can't call it insurance, but it's an extra benefit on the benefit side. And usually it goes through this whole process in any city or county government system. And then it's all, and you can see on the last page, it's all based on the years. And in the state of Indiana, you can go up to 5 years. They've just increased that, and it's based on the number of employees that the county does have.
So explain that, how does that work logistically? When you say it goes up to 5 years, do we pay annually or?
No, it's all lump sum, so if you did a 5-year plan, then you're good, paid it in full for the 5 years. So, and that's where the savings is. It roughly comes down to savings of $110 per person savings when you do it for the multi-year of 5 years.
How do we currently do it?
Pardon?
We don't.
But do people, but there's like individual member,
Yeah, an individual membership, the savings there, would be, around $20. So if they would purchase it by themselves, it would technically be, well, obviously it would be depending on how many employees you have. So in this particular case, I think when she shared with me, it would be a lot more than that. 'Cause, and I'll give you the flyer here.
So I guess my question is, today, like, if an employee wants this today, they just simply sign up themselves individually?
That, or we can offer payroll deduct.
Yeah, but they're the ones paying it. So the
How much
employee
is-
pays for this today, and they pay.
Okay, yeah, I see what you're saying.
And they-
So a 5-year, if they just, contacted me today and wanted to do it, a 5-year would be $399.
So what if they just wanted to pay an annual fee?
Yeah, for the year would be $99.
So currently today, they just simply get an enrollment form, they send in $99, and is that just for them individually, or their family?
It would be, cover their whole family, everyone under their household.
So today, they can join themselves for $100 a year for their family,
$25 more a year if they did it on their own.
and they fund that today.
Correct. And you have an option to payroll deduct,
Yes.
what you're saying?
Yeah, and that's, the city has had it, their contract has expired, so I'm still working with them. If you're wanting to know who has the surrounding ones, but,
No. Sure.
the Knox County has it. I will tell you, Daviess County is the #1 fly to, that we do fly to this county the most.
Gotcha. No, I appreciate the information. I mean, the
Yeah.
service is obviously extremely valuable when you need it. I mean, I do get a lot of calls when people get a $19,000 bill, and then they're told, well, if you would have paid $99. So the logic between that delta, people try to wrap their mind around. Like, I could have paid 100, but now I'm paying 17,000, so it's,
Right.
and I get how the insurance, but personally, and again, it's not one I'm gonna fight over by any means, but, I'm not, I probably would not be supportive of the county funding this. Just being $99 a year for the entire family, I think that's rate limiting to the family to make their own decision.
I'd have to talk, but I would be in agreement, and then also to see about what it would take to payroll deduct, if they wanted to. I
And
would
payroll
have to-
deduct, yeah.
Yeah. I'm not saying that today, I would just say I would like to know what it would take.
We knowing how many employees we have that already has it.
You're saying offer it up, but the employee pays for it, but through that system.
Because we have two, because if you guys aren't available, they call staff flight, or vice versa, there's like a triage. And so that's the problem, you got 2 memberships here in Daviess County, or, well, in any county. A staff flight's out of Evansville, and it's, there's some sort of triage, I'm not sure how it works as far as flight time.
Yeah.
So really, everyone needs to have both memberships, because you just never know which helicopter is gonna pick you up. Okay. I think it's a great product, great service, so I would be supportive of encouraging all of our members to join both organizations and to payroll deduct it.
And that's what I typically recommend, especially, and that's why the membership is there. simply, that's why we started it, because we found that typically 9 times out of 10, the insurance, if you have major medical insurance, it doesn't matter what insurance you have, typically it does not cover the full amount of the flight. So this pales in comparison to, like you mentioned, the total cost of the flight or the bill.
Yeah. So let's say we get 100 members signed up through Daviess County employees. Is it still $99 a month, or does it drop down to 75, or how does that work?
So yeah, if, it just depends on if you did, let's say if you did the 5 years, then it would be, the $295 for the 5 years.
But the employees would be paying this themselves, though. Okay.
Or the $75, yeah.
Okay, so even if the employees pay it themselves, they'll pay these same amounts?
Wait, I'm a little
Because
bit-
it's under a group business, quote, business plan.
Okay.
How many
Yeah.
people do you have to have that group business plan?
3, so you see that first bracket?
Yeah, yeah.
3 to 149, and when we first talked, she thought it was 350 plus employees.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So,
Didn't see that.
it would be in that second bracket, which is
Yeah.
a much, you can see the savings is better.
And what that means is you have to at least have it deducted out of their paycheck, right out of payroll, for it to be considered. Because if they went on their own and just did it on their own, then it's at $99. But they got it deducted and we had 3, minimum of 3,
For a fee?
they get it for 75 apiece.
Yes. So if you tell
Okay,
me you
changes
have
things.
350 employees, then if they chose and I
Yeah.
come in, let's say we do choose 3 days to give all the employees different, and a lot of times I go to the different, option to give the people a chance to sign up, because everybody's schedules is different. So let's say if there's 350 employees, they chose the 1 year, it'd be $70. If they chose the 3 years, it'd be $180, and then if they chose the 5 years, it's $270.
But you'd have to have at least 150 sign up for that one to get that price, is what you're saying. Yeah, gotcha. That does change things.
Okay, I mean, if we can talk about, if there's any questions, we can
No,
keep
that's-
going, but otherwise, I mean, I would encourage us to, have this payroll deducted and employee funded.
Mm-hmm.
And then also staff flight as well. I'd like to give the employees those both options.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll payroll deduct. We as in, they, will payroll deduct each.
Yeah, that makes sense to me.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I'd entertain a motion to approve the payroll deduction by the employee.
So moved.
A motion made by Commissioner Keith. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Cook. All in favor?
Aye.
The motion passes 3-0.
Thanks.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks for being here, Holly.
All right, thank you.
I'm getting like feedback.
I am,
whenever you
yeah, I
talk.
am too. Yeah, big time. I don't know which one it's coming from. Okay, thank you. Next up, we got the airport grant request. Erica, good morning.
And short and sweet,
Rip my legs.
just asking for your blessings again on submitting grant paperwork for the construction management, and access road for the new taxi lane that's going out. Commissioners Cook and Commissioners Keith, it's the same paper that you guys signed about 3 weeks ago for me. Just need official documentation and
Sounds great.
blessings from the commissioners.
This sounds great. And then, do we have that official?
I have it here. I have the originals.
great.
I just brought it last time and they signed it.
All right, awesome. I'll go ahead and re-entertain a motion to sign.
So moved.
A motion made by Commissioner Keith. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Cook. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
A motion passes 3-0.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. I got them right.
Great, thank you.
Yeah,
Oh,
both.
sorry.
Both,
Use yours.
both,
Okay. Just,
yeah.
Approve.
Which date do you need?
It doesn't matter.
Thanks, Erica. That's how I have like 30 pins back here.
Thank you, Erica.
Next up, we got Bob Gruey for the EDC for quarterly update. Good morning, Bob.
Morning, everyone. Thanks for the opportunity to share a little bit about what we've been up to. I put a folder on your packet there, and it has two pieces. I want to draw your attention to the sort of Word document rather than the green spreadsheet. But I again want to take a little time here. I hope I don't go too long, but we'll see how this goes. And this is sort of a long form. I'm hoping in the future we'll be able to sort of know what we're working on and have more update formats. So the first bullet there in blue is sort of related to the other spreadsheet. We respond to requests for information from the state of Indiana, brokers, commercial realtors, and that spreadsheet is sort of a tracking of those sorts of projects. So sort of a core thing we do in the business attraction world. Locally, we did close on selling 6 acres to M&C Tech. They've had an option on that land for a number of years, so we're delighted that they finally took it down, and we're meeting with them and talking about how we might facilitate future expansion. I think they're doing much better in terms of production there. We're working with a potential buyer for the Shell building, and part of that is unwinding the rail operations that have been going on there, having to rethink how that would work, and that seems to be going well. We've worked with the Westgate team on the Kratos and Amentum projects, which are very exciting, and County Council has granted abatements for those Westgate projects. There's a developer from Terre Haute who's purchased 2.3 acres at Exit 76. Who's interested in a gas station convenience store. This is the project that next to North Daviess High School. Jody's talked about, so again, a challenge there to understand the infrastructure and traffic, et cetera. We want to revisit working on the Tokai.
And on 76, I mean, will you be kind of the point person for Jody to mitigate any?
We've kind of, yes.
Yeah, we would like for you to be that
Okay.
point person if you could, just to make sure her concerns are alleviated. Obviously, you can bring any of the commissioners in if you need to.
Yeah.
But you'll know more of the details before we will.
Yeah. And Jody's team was very helpful with the developer understanding the history of that site and the fact that it's kind of low and there's some drainage issues, all these things that they didn't know, without the background.
Well, and as you know, if we involve the folks that are concerned from step one, they help mitigate the issue. The solution is
True. So true.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Tokheim site, a great piece of property on the west side of Washington. I think it's lost some traction. We want to try to engage Indiana University students and faculty to put a little bit more energy into expressing the opportunity there and frankly get the regulators sort of off the dime and moving forward.
Yeah, I mean, brown ground, right? That's what we're dealing with, or is that already taken care of?
It is a brownfield project, and it's been mitigated to some extent, but there's a giant concrete slab there. That slab has to be removed in order to do further analysis to make sure that there's nothing that they haven't understood while the slab's in place. So it's basically getting people to spend some money, and they are liable for fixing this. So it's
who's paying for the regulators now?
well, typically projects like this with the brownfield, it's the insurance company of the former owner.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, I saw the trailer, the monitoring trailer.
Yeah. Right. But it would be a great opportunity, and there are some developers there very capable of creating a nice housing project if we can get that property ready to go. I've been looking at properties in Odin. We keep hearing that there's Westgate contractors are looking for more space, and so there might be some accommodation there. Visiting Chicago site selectors with Radius Indiana here in May. Looking forward to visiting that team. If we're successful with the Shell building, we really won't have a building to market. And so we're looking at an idea of a virtual building. This is something some communities have done where you basically do all the homework so you can present it to a developer that building's ready to go. We've taken all the risk out of it. We've done the design and planning. It's early stage of this, but it seems to be something that could add value and again, think the Shell building, I understand, M&C Tech came to look at the Shell building and went across the street. So it's nice to have a product to put in front of people.
You're saying this product would be a virtual project?
Right, where we would just, invest, maybe find a development partner, again, invest in the planning and design, not so much structure. Yeah. I'm not advocating another Shell building right now.
Yeah.
That's smart. Good
We'll
move.
take a breath, right?
Right.
Again, another project with IU and students. This is May 1. We'll be getting a presentation for them, ideas on how to fill empty storefronts in downtown areas in Daviess County. So it's sort of a broader strategy of how to market, maybe how you could maybe do innovative lease structures, all the things in a toolbox fashion to help get these empty storefronts filled. And we are working, I'm turning the page, Eagle Rail received a New Market Tax Credit project. It's a very involved financial transaction, and we're unwinding that now after 7 years, so it's been long enough for everyone to kind of forget what we did, but now we've got to unpack it. So it's a time sink from that regard. Retention expansion is the signature piece of our work. Everyone knows in economic development, most of your new jobs and investment come from existing businesses. So I want to get out and understand what the businesses do, meet with them, understand their challenges. So we've visited 16 companies to date. I'm meeting with RTC this afternoon, and Bill continues. We want to continue to stand on the gas. Oddly enough, not everyone wants to meet with us. It is an ask to get on their schedules, but we keep making those requests. This is something new. We're hosting a Trusted Advisors and Connectors events. This is a term that the state uses, Indiana Economic Development Corporation. They've just done a few of these, so we'll sort of be a pilot in this part of the state. But the idea is that we train the trusted advisors, so the attorneys, accountants, bankers, ask them to come to an event and put Small Business Development Center, all these resources in front of them, give them 10-minute pieces so that they're aware of these resources, and as they talk to their clients who might be thinking of an expansion or a new business opportunity, they can sort of think, hey, you ought to maybe talk to so-and-so. They have a program about that. So I think it's a great idea. It's hard to get everywhere, but again, sort of training these people who work in that space every day, I think is going to pay off. And then as we talked about that, we also said some of our more entrepreneurial folks are the Amish community, so we're trying to see if do some pilot engagements with those companies and might do something similar, just targeted for that Amish community as well. In regard to being able to be this connector to resources, we spend a bit of time too just staying up to date with all the programs and resources in the business development space. It kind of goes without saying. We've continued to invest in the CEO program. I think they continue to get great metrics out of that program, and I think we'll be doing that in the future. We're also talking with these projects at Westgate. Bryant and I were saying we ought to be thinking about some kind of resource to put in the hands of the contractors and developers at Westgate, just to create awareness of local capabilities in the trades fields. I don't know if they'd find that of interest, but we feel like we ought to make an effort to again, create awareness that we've got some great contractors here. Infrastructure, we help a bit with Westgate and their utility endeavors up there. Last week met with Montgomery and talking about as they pursue their sewer project, and we'll have some capacity in the future, how might we want to look at development opportunities in the town, particularly residential development, so we're working in that space.
When you say like assist these towns on infrastructure, what do you mean by that? You're talking about Westgate, Plainville, even
Yeah.
Montgomery, like what do you mean by assist?
Well, I think make them aware of resources, connect them to folks like Greg Jones at SIDC. look at, again, with Montgomery, about expanding the rate base of development opportunities if you're subsequently can provide additional utility capacity. So it's certainly not engineering, but it's more cheerleading and connecting them.
Okay.
So yeah, Plainville there, enjoyed that. After driving through there for a year and a half, I finally got down and met with Kevin Sparks and got the grand tour, and great little community. Again, we talked about exit 76 and the utilities up there. We're working on moving the hangar at the airport when it's done with its role of storage. Greg Jones at SIDC, working with them to address some dilapidated properties at Westgate. And also a signage property there at Westgate where we need about 4 or 5 dry days, and we hope to get these really cool lighted signs in that are going to create a great buzz, a great vibe for Westgate. And at our building at 201 Main, behind us, you may know there's a drive-in bank. It's just been sitting there for years, so we're looking at taking that down and creating a new parking lot there. There are some parking, but it's not well done. And as downtown, you know, that's a good sign. When people start complaining about parking, you know you've got more activity downtown, so that's a good sign. Workforce, Jill Campbell's our workforce point, and she does a great job. I think one of the great things she's done this year is created this HR roundtable, human resource roundtable. So they meet monthly, and Jill always has a resource person there, again, to speak about things that they should maybe be taking advantage of and find value in. We attend the Region 1 or Region 8 Work 1 meetings, excuse me. Their point on all things workforce, and we also coordinate with ROI, who's doing a lot in that space. Another sort of new thing, Jill put together with area employers and the schools a countywide job fair last week. So we used to go to individual schools. Now it's one big tent. The employers seem to like that. They can come out to one event, and it's really got a lot of scale to it. And this is, again, targeted for students that are likely not going to leave for a higher ed, but start their careers here in the community. Again, we stay in touch with Ivy Tech and Vincennes, and always trying to keep an ear to the ground about workforce needs and challenges. We've been hosting what's called an IT Coding Academy. It's a computer coding for beginners in our office. We did spring and fall semesters, and now we're going to do a summer event and then probably another fall. So pushing that out, registration's coming up.
How many people usually attend that?
We normally get about 7 or 8, and it's virtual. So, on the last page there on workforce and quality of life or workforce attraction, Radius Indiana has been helping us with 2 programs called Make My Move and Choose Southern Indiana. These can provide a $5,000 stipend to someone that moves to the region. We did 7 of those last year, the 1 and 2 of the other. But again, this is something we want to make a push this year, particularly with the Crane and Westgate announcements, that this can really, it can give you a leg up. So, Amber Warden's been working. She put together a group for they coined it the Daviess County Arts Alliance. I believe that's it. But we got a small grant from the Indiana Arts Council. We needed to put an organization together, and I think they've worked through the grant and made some investments, and I think they'll continue in this space and, again, try to further engagements in arts and culture in Daviess County. Our Quality of Life Committee, we've been looking at quality of life resources that, again, back to workforce attraction, if it's a publication or a video, what would the employers find of value, and we're trying to understand that. That same group is also looking at creating first impressions by maybe some signage or architectural features at the exits, much like you see when you go north toward Indy. And we continue to serve as board of directors and Discover Downtown Washington. And lastly, our tourism agreement, I think, is going well. I was concerned that it might pull a lot more of my staff time or other people in our organizations, but Amber has frankly just, like a fish to water, is doing it, and it's been pretty effective. Well, sorry about the quickness, but I did want to just get through these bullet
Went
points.
through a lot there pretty quick. That was good.
A lot of information. Commissioners, any questions?
No.
Okay, great. Bob, thanks for being here.
Bet.
Thanks, Bob.
Okay, next up, we got the NEC grant from Sheriff Allison. Morning, Gary.
They contacted me last week, and this would be to replace our fingerprint machine that's currently in the jail. It's Supreme Court, they got 25 machines, so we're one of the first 25 to go. The contract, so I guess I gotta run it days. But I've just
Yep.
done it on my own before, but
You guessed right.
okay.
You gotta come to us for
Yeah.
permission. So what do you
Yeah.
think, guys? Should we give you permission or not?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, okay.
No.
Good, 'cause I already signed it.
That's what you said, your old machine's what, how old?
15 years
Yeah.
probably, yeah.
No, we appreciate it. Yeah, appreciate you following procedure as well. But any questions, commissioners?
No.
Sounds
I'd
good.
entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Motion made by Commissioner Keith. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Cook. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion approved, 3-0.
Thanks.
Thanks, Gary. All right, next up, we got the transit resolution from Four Rivers DSI. This is I think just an ongoing thing that allows them to get funding from the federal government. So basically, it's just, we grant them, they're our designated nonprofit that provides rural public transport services, which, you know, I've always tried to clarify to the community that providing rural transport is, just in my personal opinion, isn't necessarily a role of county government. You know, city government's probably more so. However, if we can help a nonprofit who's providing that service, great, but we have to just be cautious that we don't get too sucked into it, otherwise, and then now we have another service to fund, so. But this just authorizes them to apply for the grants so that they can maintain their service, which is a great service. Any questions or discussion? Nope. If not, I'd entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
A motion made by Commissioner Keith. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Cook. All in favor? Aye. Motion passes 3-0. And then next up is on their hospitality center application. They're applying to Department of Homeland Security. Is this a construction project or what?
Yes, so this is.
Oh, the training
DSI.
center, okay.
The commissioners, by virtue of some legacy, are the owners of the building, and they're asking for your permission to make some updates to the building. Hogan Helms in correspondence about this. Told him we would get it on the next meeting.
Okay.
No cost to,
No, they do. Grants and all that stuff.
Are any questions or discussions?
no.
If not, I'd entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
A motion made by Commissioner Keith. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Cook. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Motion passes 3-0.
Losing our audience. Be time.
Yeah.
One away. All right, anything from the audience? Commissioners, anything?
You notice you only ask that when there's one person.
Yeah, yeah, that's right.
So the Advisory Plan Commission does have a meeting on Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
Invite any of you, all of you to attend. I know Commissioner Cook's gonna be there. And I've worked with, other members of the board relative to just requests, updates to our solar ordinance. And so, of course, I'm open to whatever your requests might be. Just very briefly, there seems to be, just from the public, quite a bit of, interest in making sure that we've got appropriate setbacks for non-participating homeowners.
I think that's the biggest thing is the setbacks, make sure they're far enough away.
And also probably some sort of a vegetation barrier, so that,
Yeah, I think there's probably two or three that hits most people. Is one, who cleans these things up when these companies go out of business? That's a major concern, because this is a major cleanup. And then how far away should they be from non-participating houses? Because you look at some of these other solar fields, I mean, they're 25 feet wrapped around these houses. So it's just that fine line of whose rights, do you step on the business's rights or the personal property rights? So we're trying to thread that needle.
Yeah, and dealing with coal, obviously, I think we need to have some similar stuff, even maybe look at some bonds, so the cleanup can get taken care of, if they just leave or go bankrupt, right? And then they're just stuck there.
Yeah. Sounds good. We'll be interested to see what the APC comes up with, so. All right, if there's nothing else, I'd entertain a motion to approve payroll claims and to adjourn the meeting.
So moved.
Okay, motion made by Commissioner Keith. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Cook. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Meeting is adjourned. Have a great week, everyone. Both of you.
Yeah. Both of you. Thanks for sticking it out.
Yeah, no kidding.